My husband and I go to this restaurant. Okay, let's face it, it's a dive bar, which we love. We love dive bars. And we go to this one particular dive bar because they have something that is incredibly healthy for you. It is a battered and deep fried chicken sandwich. Okay, I know, it's not good for me at all. But every once in a while, I have the craving, so we need to go. And we hadn't been there for a while. When we showed up yesterday, the gal who usually takes care of us, after she brought it, because I'm like, oh, I was craving it. She goes, I know, we haven't seen you for a little while. And I said, just craving it, have to have this today, because probably it's going to be a couple months before we get back there. And maybe not even until the spring, depending on the weather. So she said, after I had it, and we had eaten probably about half of it, maybe a quarter of it or so, she comes back by and she says, is it everything you've been dreaming about? What a great question, because it asks a really detailed question that will allow for insight to whether or not I'm happy. Now, if you've been to restaurants, obviously, a lot of times people say, is everything okay? Is your food good? They might even say, does it taste delicious? Which is a little bit more of a descriptive question than, is everything okay? Because things like, is everything okay, conveys like a yes or no answer. Is it delicious? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. But when she said, is it everything you've been dreaming about? It allowed me the chance to say, absolutely. But it also would have allowed me the chance to say no if I wasn't happy. So that way I could have said, well, it's not exactly like I was dreaming about. And I know without a doubt she would have taken care of it. But the question alone really dove deeper into my relationship at that moment with the chicken sandwich. So what we're going to talk about today is ensuring that you have asked all the right questions in the right way as a part of the blend strategy, not only for your external customers like I was yesterday, but for the internal customers within your organization, those people that you work with and work for. So now I want to challenge you a little bit. When is the last time you went to your boss or a colleague and asked them, am I delivering on all my expectations to you? Chances are you probably never asked that question. So let's talk about, why don't we ask that question? Why don't we proactively seek out verification or validation? I just made up a new word. Verification that we're doing a great job. Well, so I wrote down some notes. I thought, number one, sometimes we don't think about it. We're focused on what we're doing. And so the thought about stopping and asking if I'm delivering on my expectations might not even cross my mind. But let's say it does. Because sometimes people know when something's not quite right. And they know that it probably has to do with them. But what's keeping them back from it? Sometimes we assume we'd be told if we weren't doing a good job. Assumptions, I talk about that a lot. And assuming that you're doing a great job or you'd be told can be a very slippery slope, because sometimes you aren't doing a great job, or maybe you are doing a great job and you're never getting the chance to hear and be able to adapt or react to it. But I think the most common is people don't ask because they don't want to know. They don't want to be told. Maybe you're not meeting my expectations, or maybe I want you to do something different. And it's that fear that keeps us from progressing. So as I talk about the E in blend, for ensure you've asked all the right questions, it's really about making sure we open up communication in a new way. So we know the reasons we might not do it, but let's talk about what happens when we do ask the questions and we really do engage. So again, my trusty notebook, these are the things I thought of. What happens when you do ask? Am I meeting all of your expectations? And or are there other things that you'd like me to accomplish, or other things that you think I should be doing or could be incorporating into my work? See, first of all, that opens up the opportunity for communication. Sometimes by just asking that question, you might get somebody to go, hey, No, that's a great question. I'm really glad you asked it. In fact, let's talk about one of the challenges that we're having with this one process. So what you're doing is you're opening up lines of communication that might not necessarily have been closed, but weren't as open as they could have been for your benefit, the benefit of your colleagues or your superior or the people who work for you, and opportunities for the business. So the more we ask that question, the more we open communication. But the second thing is, by asking that question, we're building trust. Trust is so important in the workplace because people who trust you and the people that you trust, those are the foundations for great work and great outcomes. Without trust, it's really hard to progress. And yet oftentimes we're stuck in that, and we have people that we don't necessarily trust, but we're not really engaged in asking them ways to build that trust. So that moves right into the third one, which is the opportunity for growth. By asking somebody that you work with or work for, am I meeting all your expectations? And if not, what are ways that I can improve in that? You are now building the foundation blocks for growth for you, for that relationship, and for the organization. And it takes guts. The guts that are required to ask those questions are not easy, but once you practice them and you realize you don't always get slapped upside the head, the more you're likely to continue to ask that again. And that really leads into the last point for me. And that is, by asking that question, you are opening up the doors for collaboration. What do I mean by collaboration? Work doesn't happen in a vacuum, and it shouldn't happen in a vacuum, because when we try to work within organizations, we need other people. We need other thoughts, we need input, we need their questions, we need their solutions. And by asking the question of your colleagues and the people you work for, as well as the people who may work for you, am I delivering on your expectations? And if not, what can I do? Now, somebody may say, hey, you know what, you really are. But when you ask that question, it made me think, what more could we be doing? Let's talk about it. So now it moves away from whether or not you're meeting expectations, and it opens the door for how you build new strategies together. So I hope this challenges you and motivates you today to think about asking the simple question, am I meeting all of your expectations? Yes, it's a yes or no answer. But you'll know, if you remember from yesterday, listen with your ears and your eyes. If they go, yeah, you're probably not. So you're going to have to ask some further questions. But if they go, absolutely, then you have the building blocks for something really, truly special that will help you, your colleagues, your boss, people who work for you, and your company to truly shock your potential.